Tonight on Let's Get to the Points, we talk everything about Capital One.
My son is finally 18, and we are going to use this tool for a certain Capital One card. We are at the last step. Oh, we got one check mark. Remember that, Serena?
Oh my gosh. I do remember that.
If you were to have a Venture or a Venture X card, you could effectively double your earnings because this earns a flat 2 miles per dollar spent.
Whether or not you use Capital One shopping, here's some tricks that I've found that are helpful. We've seen some incredibly insane offers, like up to 20 and 30% cashback offers.
And later,
Capital One is my only option if I wanted to transfer to the EVA program. So I think I might do it. It's not favorable for me, especially at this ratio. You want to try to talk me out of it?
Serena is giving EVA a transfer bonus.
I'm giving it to them.
and now, let's get to the points. She loves traveling luxuriously for a fraction of the cost. It's Serena. He embraces every travel experience, and he proves adventure is found everywhere. It's Miguel. She teaches you and your family to travel on a budget while indulging in a little bit of occasional luxury. It's Nicole. And he loves using his points to fly some of the world's best airlines in first class. It's Mitch Shannon.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points audio video podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, and I am joined by my co-hosts who love traveling the world with their families using their credit card points and miles. First up, what's in her wallet? Hopefully not any annual fee cards. It's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
What's in his wallet? How about the secret to getting a lot of points and miles? It's Miguel.
Hey, what's up?
And I can guarantee you in her wallet, you won't find a card that does not earn some kind of reward points. It's Nicole.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Please help us out. Click the subscribe button now to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you watch or listen. Also, don't forget, sign up for our weekly newsletter. We send you everything going on in the world of points and miles. Now let's do it. Let's get to the points. All right, tonight we're going to start off with a little let's get to the points exercise. Are you guys ready? All right, I need everyone to warm up your hand. So we're going to bend it a little bit. Yeah, now we're going to flex a little bit. All right, are you guys feeling a little limber? Are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Sure.
Totally warmed up.
Now, does everyone have their wallet or their purse? Do you have it with you? Whatever it is. Everyone got it? Perfect. Now, I want everyone to take their nicely stretched out, exercised hand, and I want you to go inside your wallet because I have a question for you. I want you to show us what is one of the top cards in your wallet. So go for it right now. Pull it out. Show it to us. What's in the top of your wallet?
Do you want me to name them all?
Miguel, do you understand the assignment?
Oh, sorry. Where is this?
There you go. Look at that. The Capital One Venture X, right?
Sorry, I thought we were going to show all the cards we have.
Oh, this is a Capital One episode, Miguel.
I didn't get the memo.
Oh, dear. I do that little exercise because as cringy as that marketing phrase can be, what's in your wallet, I actually think it's pretty powerful testament to the fact that each one of us, we all hold this Capital One Venture X card in our wallets. And that's just how powerful that day of a bank has become, because I don't know about you guys, but I remember just a couple of years ago, I honestly don't think I could have cared less about Capital One as a bank. But today, let's devote an entire episode to them about their points and their credit cards and everything else. So tonight we're going to talk everything about Capital One.
So thanks to Jennifer Garner, we all have Capital One cards in our wallet. So we're going to talk about...
Wait. Jennifer Garner. That's what comes to mind. To me, it's Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know. That's just me.
Oh, that's interesting. You guys have Nicole and Mitch.
Both. I mean, more recently, I've seen Jennifer Garner, but Samuel L. Jackson was pivotal.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson. I was going to try to do a good impression, but I can't. So
Do it, Mitch.
Try. No,
Mitch,
I can't.
Yes, you do
I'm
now.
going to embarrass myself.
No, I know
Let me
you're going to
set
be
the
good at it.
scene.
Just do it.
Wait. Let me set the scene. I got this one. Ready? So you're high on the hog. You're in first class, 30,000 feet above the ground. And under your seat is a snake.
What?
Take it.
Wait, was he on Snakes on a Plane? He was in that
Was
movie,
he?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in every movie.
So first we're going to talk about all the ways that we can earn Capital One miles, and then we're going to talk about all the ways that we like to redeem Capital One miles. So let's start with the credit cards.
Let's start with the Capital One Venture X. This was my first and probably one of my favorite travel cards. This card gets double miles on every dollar spent. I remember when I signed up for this card, the sign-up bonus was 100,000 points for spending $4,000 in 3 months. I was living high on the hog back then, Mitch. Now the current offer is 75,000 miles for spending $4,000 in the same 3 months. I love this card because I can add my kids as authorized users for free, and you can add up to 4 people for free. Cannot forget the Capital One lounges. I think that's what really made me get this card. So this card has a $395 annual fee. Even though this $395 seems kind of steep, the effective annual fee is a gain of $5. You'll receive a $300 travel credit to be used in their travel portal. You'll also get $100 for TSA PreCheck or Global Entry. And every year, you'll get 10,000 miles as a thank you for having the Capital One card, which is valued at around $100. So you're spending $395, but you're getting $400 plus in value for this card. This card is a no-brainer for anyone that wants to travel using points and miles. So one of my favorite things about this card is the lounges, but what are your favorite aspects of this card?
I know one of Mitch's favorite things about this card is that you earn 2 miles per dollar on anything you spend. There are no bonuses for different categories. It's a flat 2 miles per dollar on everything you spend. So depending on what card you're currently using, where you might be earning only 1 point or mile per dollar, if you were to have a Venture or a Venture X card, you could effectively double your earnings because this earns a flat 2 miles per dollar spent.
I agree, Miguel. I will say that this Capital One Venture X card, it has basically become the default card in my wallet for everything outside of dining and grocery because it's just an easy way to get 2 points on everything. And then I don't have to really think about when I'm out shopping, do I need to use this card or this card? And I've kind of turned into this lazy credit card person. You know, I used to be like really into it, like trying to maximize the max amount of points I can get for every purchase. But with the Capital One Venture X, it's so easy just to know that you're going to get 2x. I can throw that card down, walk out and be happy knowing I at least got something back for that purchase, at least 2 points.
Another good way to use this card is to give this to your player 2 when your player 2 really doesn't know which card to use and they're calling you to say, which card should I use? I'm at Target. You could just give them the Venture X card and you know you're going to get 2x at least on anything because, you know, sometimes player 2 doesn't really know what they should be using.
Listen, trust me. Today we pulled up to the Dunkin' Donuts and James was paying and I really wanted to tell him to use the gold card, but I'm like, I'm not going to pick this fight today. Pulled out the Venture X. I'm like, great job. Perfect card. Let's go with that one.
Oh.
Great job.
Exactly.
Pick and choose the battles.
You have to.
So you missed on your $7 credit or had you already loaded onto a digital gift card for the month?
I just left it. It's just, oh, Capital One? Great job. Didn't even, no.
I love all the features that all of you guys mentioned on this card. It's also a default card for me as well, especially when I travel because it also comes with travel protection, pretty good travel protection, and rental car insurance, which I also love to have. I know this card has a $300 travel portal credit, and I'm curious to know what you guys used your $300 travel credit for. I have used it mostly for rent-a-cars and for hotels. Sometimes airfare too. So I guess all of the above. What have you guys used it for?
I use mine mainly on like, I don't know if it's inter-island, but inter-region flights. When we were flying from Lima to Cusco, I use it to purchase those flights.
Same. I used part of it earlier this year when I was flying Norwegian Air, and I'm planning to use the rest of it. I think I have about $160 left or so. And I'm planning to use that because I'll be flying Aerolíneas Argentina. I think the best way to book is cash. So I'm probably going to use that portion that's left for my flights down there in Argentina.
I will say, since they have kind of changed the rules about how you get that credit back, the $300 with Capital One, I have been struggling a little bit using it because you have to go directly through their portal now. And if you don't use it by the expiration date, you lose it. So I've kind of been struggling a little bit. But what I have been using it on is I will sometimes just flat out book a Marriott or some other property like that is on there just to burn the credit to use it. I think rental car or flights like yours, Miguel, are a good way to go. I struggle a little bit trying to use that $300.
In prior years, I've also used it to book hotels for other people. So my father-in-law was traveling and he needed a hotel. So I booked it because you could book under somebody else's name. He was able to check in and it was paid for with the travel credit, even though that card was not under his name. So that's a good way to use it if you are somebody in your family that books or is a designated travel agent for your family. That could work too.
I know this is not a Chase episode, but I've done the same thing.
Here we go.
I'm agreeing with Miguel. You can use it to book for somebody else. And it's happened in another bank that we're obviously not talking about today. And I've used the credit to book hotels for someone else and it works. So try that, Mitch.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually did do that for Aunt Peggy when we went to Kyoto last year. She actually stayed at a separate hotel from us. And I did that. I put it on the Capital One and I got reimbursed for that, for the credit. So yeah, that's a really good tip.
And here's another great tip for the travel portal. If you book through the travel portal and find that it's cheaper somewhere else, Capital One will credit you the difference that you can use for future travels. Now, it's important that you check within 24 hours because that's a stipulation. So you must do the price check within 24 hours of booking your original arrangements.
Something else that Capital One will do when you book a flight through their travel portal is that they offer free price protection. If your flight drops in price within 10 days of booking, they will give you a travel credit up to $50 for the difference. And that happened to me. I didn't know they had this, but I booked that Norwegian Air. I guess the price dropped and I think it was something like $32 back in travel credit because the price dropped after I had booked it within 10 days of me booking. So I think that's pretty cool too.
It's like a set it and forget it.
The same thing happened to me too with one of my flights. I booked an American Airlines flight and Capital One sent me an email a few days later saying the price dropped and I got $12 back. It's not much, but I thought it was really nice that they monitored it for me. I've also used the price match before on hotel bookings, and it's nice to be able to book a hotel, and if I see a lower price, then I call them within 24 hours, and it was very easy to get that price matched and get the difference as a statement credit on my card.
They have made a change to that price match, and now when they refund you the money, it stays in the portal as a travel credit. So it doesn't go on a statement credit, it just lives in the portal. So you just use it to book something else for future travel.
And then another thing to note is if you also have the Capital One Venture X business card and the personal Venture X card, you get the $300 travel credit on both cards, and they actually stack. So you can use both of them on one booking in the portal if you wanted to. So I know that I have the Venture X for me and my husband in my household, and I want to know if anybody else has two of these cards in their household too.
I wish. This is one of the cards that I've been denied for, so I have it, but I am an authorized user on my wife's account. So she has it. I don't. I've done the pre-approval tool, and they have not suggested even the regular venture. So yeah, I don't think they want me to have it.
Capital One is very finicky when it comes to the number of inquiries and number of new accounts open. So if someone is thinking about getting the Capital One, I would get that card earlier in my credit card game than later because they're going through your credit report and checking to see, how many accounts has this guy just opened? Yeah, he's not it.
Okay, Nicole, do you have two of these cards in your household?
I do have two of these cards, yes.
How about you, Mitch?
Yeah, Serena, in our household, we have two cards, and kind of goes back to what Nicole was saying earlier about how it's a net positive. It's easy to justify holding this card for two people because the annual fee pretty much cancels itself out. So that's why we have two of these cards.
So for my Capital One $300 travel portal credit, I actually used it recently for my most recent trip. I used it to book a rental car in Oman through Alamo. And I thought it was really cool because it turned out to be $325 for the rental. And so $300 took care of most of that. And then I actually used my miles to offset the other $25. So it ended up being a free rental, which was really nice because I didn't want to have to pay for that out of pocket.
There are more miles, but no more money.
Exactly. You're right, Nicole. You know me so well. I'm trying to minimize my out-of-pocket cost expenses, but maximize my mileage usage because I earn and burn.
It's funny as I hear you talk about that credit, Serena, I see in my head the footage of you and your husband in the rental car driving down through there. So very good visual there for using the card credit.
Yeah, side note, at the Alila in Oman, if you have them pick you up from the airport and take you to the resort, it's about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. You need 4-wheel drive, and it's a steep mountain that you have to drive. And so the cost is $730 for them to pick you up and take you to the resort round trip.
US dollars?
Yes, I did the conversion. $730 round trip for that pickup. I thought, I'm using this credit and I'm using some miles. I am not going to pay for this. We drove ourselves and it was free. We just had to pay some gas, which was nominal.
This is like one of those Maldives airport transfer.
Yes, it is.
So glad you brought that up. I don't think anyone's ever talked about that.
Okay, so that's our favorite Capital One card, the Venture X, but Capital One also has other cards too.
Yeah, for example, the Kohl's card is Capital One card.
They even have a Pottery Barn card. I was like, who's getting a card at Pottery Barn?
Wait, Capital One has those cards, really?
Yeah, they have a few co-branded cards.
Okay, but we're not going to talk about those because it's a travel points and miles show. We don't talk about shopping unless we're earning points through a portal.
If the $395 annual fee is too much for you, Capital One also has a Venture Rewards card that only has a $95 annual fee. You still earn 2 miles per dollar on anything you spend, but you're not getting that $300 travel credit or the 10,000 mile anniversary bonus. It's another good card to have because you can still use that card to transfer those miles into Capital One's transfer partners. With the Venture Rewards card, you also earn 5 miles per dollar for any travel that you book through the Capital One travel portal. So if you do rental cars through their hotels, you will earn 5 miles per dollar for those expenses. One of the other cards that is one of my favorite Capital One cards is a Savor One card. With the Savor One Rewards card, you will earn 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, streaming, and grocery stores, and then 1% back on everything else. Now, if you do have the Venture Rewards card or the Venture X, you'll be able to combine that and turn that cash back into miles effectively, allowing you to earn 3 miles per dollar spent on dining, grocery store, and streaming with the Savor One Rewards, and combine it with the Venture card. That way you could transfer those miles to their travel partners. Another great thing about the Savor One Rewards card is that it has no annual fee and that you get 0% interest introductory APR for the first 15 months.
Capital One also has some business cards that you might want to consider if you have a business. There's the Capital One Venture X business card. And if you remember, I applied for this card for my husband in episode 39. So if you're curious about how that application went, you might want to give that show a watch to see if we were approved or not. The Venture X business is similar to the Venture X personal card, where it does come with a $300 travel credit and a 10,000 mile bonus every anniversary year. There are also 3 Spark business cards that are worth talking about. The Spark Miles business card has a $50K bonus, and in the first year, the annual fee is $0, and then thereafter, it's $95. The Spark Cash business card offers a $750 bonus, and the annual fee is $0 in the first year and $95 thereafter. Then there's the Spark Cash Plus business card, which offers a $2,000 bonus with a very high spend of $30,000 and comes with a $150 annual fee. There are some other business cards as well with Capital One, and they earn 1.5 times for every dollar that you spend, but I don't think those were worth talking about because you would want to aim for these other cards that I mentioned before that give you 2 times for every dollar that you spend. And it's worth noting that some of these business cards offer cash back, but if you also hold a Venture card that earns miles or a Spark Miles card, you can convert that cash back to miles. Capital One also has some application rules that are important for you to know before applying for any of these cards, and we'll go through them here. So these are not hard and fast rules. These are based on some data points, and your mileage may vary, and you may find that these rules may not apply to you. But here's what we know. Typically, you can have a maximum of 2 personal cards for Capital One, and usually Capital One limits 1 card application every 6 months. Capital One tends to pull your credit report from all 3 credit bureaus, and this can affect your credit score, whereas other credit card issuers usually pull from 1 credit bureau. Some data points show that Capital One may still approve you if you have 1 one of those credit bureaus frozen. So if you freeze either TransUnion or Experian and you have the other two credit bureaus open, it's possible you could still get approved. With Capital One, you can usually get the bonuses more than once if there are no rules stated in the terms. And it's important to note that some Capital One business cards will get reported to your personal credit report. And this becomes important if you're concerned about your Chase 524 number. Reports have shown that the Venture X business card and the Spark Cash Plus cards do not get reported to your personal credit report. So if you're concerned about your 524 number, you'll want to look at these specific business cards instead of the other Capital One business cards. One nice thing about Capital One is you can combine miles between multiple credit cards under your name, and this can be done very easily online. And even better, you can combine miles between friends, family, and strangers for free. You'll need to call in order to do this, but Capital One is very generous when it comes to combining miles between you and anybody you want to. And then miles don't expire as long as you have the card open. If you are closing one of your Capital One cards, you'll want to make sure that you move those miles to another card before closing them. Or you can move them to a transfer partner, and we'll discuss transfer partners later. And then lastly, Capital One has this really cool pre-approval tool that you can use online. Miguel did this for his daughter in episode 54, and I think we're going to use this pre-approval tool again tonight, right, Nicole?
We are. So my son is finally 18, and we are going to use this tool to see if he is approved for a certain Capital One card. Capital One was not my first choice initially. We're going to test it out and see what cards he gets pre-approved for.
Okay, Nicole, I think you need to bring your son in. Should we do it?
Come on, James.
Hi, James.
Hi, James. You ready for this? Your first credit card?
I'm excited.
We can tell. Wait a minute. This is your first credit card ever in your name.
Yeah, this is going to be a big thing for me.
So you have been an authorized user on your parents' cards, right?
Yes, for like since I've been in middle school.
And have your parents let you use that card in real life, your authorized user cards?
Yeah.
Really? Nice mommy.
Yeah.
I mean, a little too much.
Well, this is going to be special for you because this is your card, your name, your responsibility.
And what do you use the card mostly on?
Food.
Lots of crumble cookies and Chipotle.
What else would a teenager use a credit card on? Okay, Nicole, so I think you're ready. How's this going to go?
I have been bullied into Capital One. No, okay. This Chase fangirl has been duly advised that this is an amazing card for a student, a new user in the credit card world. So we're going to apply for the Saver One card.
Yeah, I think it's a great card, especially because it doesn't have an annual fee. When I got this for my Player 3, I actually used the Capital One pre-approval tool to get an idea of whether or not she'd get approved because, obviously none of us liked getting denied. So that kind of helps you give you a warm and fuzzy of whether or not you might get approved for a Capital One card. So maybe you should try that.
Warm and fuzzy. All right, let's try the warm and fuzzy.
Nicole, how do you feel about this? Your firstborn is going for their first credit card.
When you put it like that, Mitch, it's a bit much. So this pre-approval tool has 10 steps. One of the steps is just filling in your name. So I think they could have consolidated that, but then they're asking for mailing address. You are employed. I mean, technically. So then you have to fill out your highest level of education, monthly rent, $0. All right. Then you have to put your bank account. You have checking and savings. All right, we are at the last step to see if he's eligible. We have to check off all the acknowledgements and authorizations. And we're clicking the see if you are pre-approved. Oh, we got one check mark. Remember that, Serena?
Oh my gosh.
So we do.
I do remember that.
And we have Capital One Platinum and the Quicksilver One rewards. So based on the results here, we've gotten the Platinum MasterCard and the Quicksilver One reward. And these are not really the two we had in mind. So we're going to use this opportunity to reevaluate. Maybe we open a Chase student account and then try to apply for something through Chase or, just give it a few months and see what happens.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Chase is always a good idea, right, Nicole?
Chase is always a great idea. Now you've gotten this experience. So when I send you on your own, you can do it by yourself.
Do this?
Yeah. When I send you off to California with Uncle Mitch and Aunt Serena. So are you saying it's easy?
Yeah.
It's like rocket science.
No. If I do some research, I think I can figure it out.
Oh, by the way, happy birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
James. The big 18, right?
Yeah, a lot more to come.
Oh, okay. Stay tuned. Huh?
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
We can't wait, James. We can't wait for you to grow up to be a Hilton fan.
It's Hyatt, right? It's all about Hyatt. We don't talk about Hilton. Only for the Maldives, and then that's it.
Whichever hotel is better.
He's going to go to college in LA and he's going to stay at the Waldorf in Beverly Hills. He's going to be like, I'm a Hilton guy.
Oh.
Thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Bye, James.
Bye.
Bye.
Time to finish that Common App.
That Capital One pre-approval tool is a comfort tool because I like that it tells you whether you're likely to get approved. You know, it might not show you the card that you want, and at least you're not wasting a hard inquiry on your credit report by straight up just applying for a card. If you're considering a Capital One card, but you don't want a hard inquiry, you want a sure thing, then maybe you could use this pre-approval tool to see if they suggest or recommend one of these travel cards that we're talking about. Then if they do recommend one of these cards, come back to our website and use our link to actually apply for the card.
I think that's a great point, Miguel, because Nicole, think about that. That pre-approval tool, that saved your son a hard inquiry in case he didn't get approved. So it's a good tool.
We talked about all the Capital One credit cards, which is our favorite way to earn Capital One miles, but there are also other ways to earn Capital One miles. There are also credit card linked shopping offers. You'll see these when you log into your Capital One account, and you'll notice that there are offers there when you use your card to shop at these particular merchants. You can also earn extra miles by booking through the travel portal. For example, if you have the Venture X, you'll earn 5x on flights, 10x on hotels, and 10x on rental cars. Capital One is also very generous with their referral program. If you have the personal card, you can refer friends and family to the personal card as well and get 25,000 miles per approval, up to 100,000 mile max. Same on the business card side. If you refer another business to one of these business cards, you'll get 25,000 miles for each approval. And then this is Capital One related, but you're not earning miles, but it's a pretty cool tool, right, Mitch?
That's right, Serena. Something Capital One offers, and you don't even need to be a card holder, is their Capital One Shopping. So basically, it's a shopping portal just like Rakuten and Top Cashback, but they offer you cash back when you shop at certain merchants online. The rewards you earn via Capital One Shopping, they're not connected to your Capital One account in any way. Instead, you get these cash back rewards, and they are stored in your account. Why do I bring this up, this portal? Because it's not really points and miles, and it doesn't have a lot to do with their credit cards. It's because sometimes we've seen some incredibly insane cashback offers, like up to 20 and 30% cashback offers is what we're talking about. We've even seen offers for Dell, and you know where you get some Dell credits off your American Express cards. We've seen those cashback offers as high as 30% too. Now, whether or not you use Capital One Shopping, it's up to you, but here's some tricks that I've found that are helpful in scoring some of these big cashback deals. One of the first ones is sometimes the cashback amount can differ from what the app and the website offer, so it's always good to check both before you use it. Check the app and check the website. Now, here's a really good example of how you can get that percentage back to go way up. This is kind of like an insider trick. For example, let's say you log in and you see 4% cash back from that merchant. But instead, what you should do is you should go through the merchant website, poke around a little bit in there, put some items in your shopping cart, and then wait a couple of days. Go eat a sandwich, have a drink, and then sometimes you'll get an email later from them, from that same merchant, with a really high cash back offer. And this is really good if you're looking to make like a big ticket purchase item, like an appliance or something like that, and you're not in a rush to get the item. This is even better when you can stack these, like say with an American Express offer or other one from these credit card programs. Now, the downside to all of this though is you aren't really earning true cash back. The amount earned can only be by redeeming for gift cards offered by Capital One Shopping, and they kind of rotate sometimes, but they do have a couple of good ones like Adidas, Lowe's, Grubhub, CVS. They've got Nordstrom Rack, which you can also use that at Nordstrom's as well. But the big one that they kind of have is Hotels.com. Seats.aero.com. So if you're looking for something and you're going to be staying somewhere and there's not a Hyatt or a Marriott or a Hilton and you're going to go through hotels.com, grab one of these gift cards and, 30% cash back from one of these merchants and getting a gift card like that, that's a pretty good deal.
Something else about this Capital One shopping is that there is a Google Chrome extension if you want to download that. I kind of like it because sometimes it just automatically applies different promo codes, different discount codes for what you're shopping. A lot of times they don't work, but sometimes I've ended up buying something where I didn't know there was a promo code for that website and it was automatically applied because I have this Capital One shopping Chrome extension. And I think we're going to have to set something up so that Capital One shopping automatically applies our Seats.aero promo code. So next time you subscribe to Seats.aero.
That would be cool.
I have been waiting all afternoon for you guys to stop yapping so that we can talk about the best part, the Capital One lounges. This was my first lounge experience and very few have lived up to the expectation of the Capital One lounge. Currently, Capital One has 3 lounge locations: DFW, which is in Dallas, Washington Dulles, and Denver Airport. They're going to be opening up a few more lounges. One is at JFK, possibly Las Vegas, and they have this concept called the Landing, which are planning to open up in LaGuardia and Washington Reagan. And trust me, Washington Reagan needs a couple more lounges out there, especially by where the Southwest Wing is. We need something over there. So how do you gain access to Capital One lounges? If you have the Capital One Venture X, you have unlimited access. If you have the Capital One Venture until the end of 2024, you have 2 pass access. Now, if you don't have any of these cards and you have a long layover, it might be worth it to pay the entry fee of $65. Now, with the Capital One card, if you have authorized users on your card, they also get unlimited access for themselves and 2 guests. When we first got this card, we had no idea about anything at lounges, but we had 8 people with us that we took to the Capital One lounge in DFW. So each one of us has the card, my husband, myself, and my 2 kids, and we all get 2 additional guests. So that's 3 times 4. That was 12 of us strolling into the lounge like we belong there. And this was our first time there.
Wow, what a treat.
I love it.
You also have access to Plaza Premium lounges, and you also get Priority Pass lounge access also.
Also, if you have the Capital One Venture X business card, it works the same way as the Venture X personal card does with the lounges. You get unlimited access to these wonderful lounges for you and 2 guests. And let's talk about these lounges because these are some of my favorite lounges. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I think the food is great because I love their concept of individually plated buffet. It just elevates the experience, I think, and it's really good food and cocktails, I should add.
And they have Pelotons in Dallas. Interesting. Eat some food, work off some food. Best combination, I think.
And they also have this station for to go. So if you're in a hurry, if you have a short layover, they have this section right at the entrance where you can go and grab food to go. It's already prepared. You get a little bag and you take it. Even if you had a long layover and you just want to take some extra food.
I love how they encourage you to take food to go. We don't have to do any sneaking around. We don't need to fill up any Ziploc bags. They provide the bags. They have them in to-go containers so you can take as much as you want.
That's Capital One, right? Like, oh, no, you don't have to hide it. Please take it,
Just take it. Yeah.
Yes, more of that, please.
I think the food quality, the drink quality there at those lounges are really good. I like the food options at Capital One lounges better than the Centurion Lounge. And to be honest, I liked the food better than the food in the Alsafa Lounge too.
Wow.
All right. No, that's enough for me. I don't remember getting steak at the Capital One Lounge.
Maybe I need to get the steak.
What did you eat there?
I had the sushi because it was the only thing I thought tasted good. Okay, so I do have a complaint about the Capital One lounges. They don't have enough bathrooms. I think that is ridiculous. The bathroom situation is terrible in the lounges, and that's my only complaint.
But it's not as bad as some lounges that they will tell you that they don't have a bathroom and you have to go to the airport to use the bathroom.
Okay,
that is.
I'm not going to name any, but some don't even have their own bathroom.
So here are some other things that I like about the Capital One Lounge. Not that I'm expecting, but they have a baby room where nursing moms can go with their kids. And I like the little offices. I can sit in there, record, edit. You close the door and you don't hear any noise from the outside.
I love those little office working spaces too.
Some of the Capital One lounges are great. I will tell you guys, I have yet to go to any of the Capital One lounges, mostly because I don't think they have any on the West Coast, but I'm excited to try one. You guys really sold me on them, so I'm really excited. But I think we need to talk about some ways we can use some of these Capital One miles. So at the start of the show, I had actually mentioned how I couldn't have cared less about Capital One a couple of years ago, but now it's a new day because of all their transfer partners. So let's run through them. And there's a lot here, 15 airlines, 3 hotels, and 3 bonus airlines. And we're going to explain that as well. So first up, the hotels that you can transfer to is Accor Live Limitless. And just something to note, 1,000 Capital One points turn into 500. So make sure you know that. Another one is Wyndham. They transfer 1-to-1. And then there's Miguel's favorite, which is Choice Hotels, and they transfer 1-to-1. Now with the airlines, they have Aeromexico and it transfers 1-to-1. There's Air Canada Aeroplan, goes in 1-to-1. Air France, KLM, Flying Blue, definitely one of Nicole and Serena's favorite programs. They transfer in at 1-to-1, and occasionally they might sometimes have a transfer bonus. Avianca Life Miles transfer 1-to-1. Cathay Pacific is another good one, and they transfer in 1-to-1. Emirates Skywards is 1-to-1. Etihad Guest goes 1-to-1. You can transfer to Qantas for 1-to-1. TAP Air Portugal transfers 1-to-1. Turkish Airline Miles and Smiles, that's 1-to-1 as well. You can also transfer to Virgin Red, and you can move those into Virgin Atlantic Miles, which goes in 1-to-1. And one of my favorites, Singapore Airlines KrisFlyer transfers 1-to-1. Now they do transfer to EVA, but the thing with them is it's not a full point. 1,000 turns into 750. So the better option there might be to transfer from City, but it is an option depending on if you have a lot of Capital One miles. And there's also British Airways Avios, which transfers 1-to-1. But remember, we said there's 3 bonus airlines. So if you transfer into British Avios, you can also transfer into Qatar, Aer Lingus, and Iberia. So that's a lot of airline transfer partners. So I want to know from you guys, what's your favorite ones, or who do you like to transfer to?
I'd probably say whoever has the transfer bonus so I can get more, but don't do it if you don't have a plan, because you're going to end up with orphaned miles and some loyalty program that you and I might be using anytime in the near future. But I also wanted to point out that even though you can transfer to Aeromexico 1-to-1, and that might seem normal, American Express membership rewards points actually transfer over to Aeromexico 1-to-1.6. It's like American Express has a permanent 60% transfer bonus comparing it to Capital One. So I wouldn't really transfer Capital One miles over to Aeromexico. Same thing goes for Choice Hotels. I love Choice Hotels, but if you have City Thank You points, those transfer over to Choice Hotels 1-to-2 ratio. That means you get double the Choice Hotel points if you transfer them from your City Thank You points. So I would it depends on what I'm redeeming for, but those are some that I would not use my Capital One Venture miles for. I think you asked what you would transfer your favorite, and I told you my least favorite, but same thing.
My answer is the same, Miguel. Whatever has a transfer bonus. But here's the thing. What if you don't have City points? Like, for example, I tried to apply for the City Strata Premier recently and I got denied, so I don't have any City points. Capital One is my only option right now if I wanted to transfer to EVA, for example. The transfer ratio is not great, but I'm actually considering doing it. You want to try to talk me out of it?
No, I want you to fly EVA.
Well, the reason is because I want to book that Hello Kitty plane.
Oh, I had a feeling, yes.
And the problem is I don't have enough City points at all. So this is my only way to book that. I can't get this flight through Air Canada Aeroplan either. I can only get it through the EVA program. So I think I might do it. It's not favorable for me, especially at this ratio, but you know what? It's my only option. So
have you tried it with Avianca?
No. Is EVA available?
Yeah, I've seen it before. It used to be a lot better to find when it was on Seats.aero, but Seats.aero no longer supports Avianca, but Avianca's still there. It's still an option. I just forget about it sometimes because I use Seats.aero for most of my searches, and the Life Miles website's actually been improved approved. So it kind of now shows you a calendar month by month when you're searching of availability. So I would look into that too.
Okay, I will check that. Traditionally, EVA releases a lot more availability to its own program, but I will definitely check Avianca as well.
I just need to take a moment here to let this soak in and absorb. The queen of maximization, is that a word? Is willing to transfer less for Hello Kitty.
The opposite of a transfer bonus.
The opposite.
She also spent $25 worth of miles today.
Serena is giving EVA a transfer bonus.
I'm giving it to them.
The kitty must be worth it.
I wouldn't do this if it was just me and an adult, but it's for me and my daughter, and she's a Hello Kitty and Friends fan. Who would have thunk that Hello Kitty would have come back after all these years? So I think it'd be really cool if we did this together, mother-daughter trip.
I just want to know if you're going for the Hello Kitty toilet paper in the lavatory.
Yes, that too.
It's coming home with her.
So tell me, is it a bad idea?
What is it you say? They're your points. Spin them how you want to.
That's right. I did say that. I'm going to live by it.
I'd say if it makes sense with your current travel plans and it works out for the dates and it's a route that you're going to fly anyway, I'd say why not?
My answer is nah, find a different way home.
Nicole
Plan
doesn't
a Hello
do
Kitty
Disney.
plane
She
when
doesn't
you were
do Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Nicole doesn't do any of that stuff.
No Pokemon.
Definitely no Pokemon. You guys making me sound like a Scrooge or the. When you get older and you get your own points, you can do what you want. They're your miles. But right now, they're my miles.
So currently, have you looked it up? Where is the Hello Kitty plane flying from?
Okay, so right now it goes to several different locations, but the longest route is Taipei to Chicago on certain days. That's the one I would want to fly. There's some shorter routes too, but I think the fun one would be, longer is better.
One of our top complaints, right?
Nicole.
I think that's one of our top complaints when we fly one of these aspirational products, first class, business class, is that we say it was not long enough. So yeah, I think in this case, longer is better.
It's going to be 25% less better with that transfer bonus.
My favorite travel partner with Capital One has since been devalued. Turkish Airlines flying 45,000 miles to Europe or 47,000 miles beyond Europe was a great bargain. And now it's almost doubled in price. I don't know what not that I have that many Capital One miles left. We were able to book a few seats when it was at 45,000 miles. And now I have about 30,000 miles left in Capital One. And I'll be like Miguel, I'll wait for the right transfer bonus that comes with a plan this time, though, not just, all willy-nilly. Whoever has the biggest transfer bonus will get the rest of my Capital One miles.
I think some of the better programs that Capital One Venture Miles transfer over to are Air Canada, Air France, Emirates, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic. Well, Virgin Red, but then you can transfer from there to Virgin Atlantic. We actually discussed some of these programs on show 70, where we were talking about booking business class for families. I think these are all great programs, whether you're booking for one or more if you have a family or friends that you're traveling with. So these are some great options for you to transfer your Capital One miles into.
Okay, so I talked about how I would like to use my Capital One miles for the Hello Kitty EVA flight, but I also want to talk about what I used them for recently. There was a transfer bonus to Air France. It was a 20% transfer bonus. And so I decided to transfer some Capital One miles to Air France in order to book a trip for next year to Asia. I will be flying Vietnam Airlines. Am I going by myself? Who's coming?
Maybe.
Sign me up.
Okay, so maybe we're going together. I'm going to show you, if you're watching on YouTube, how I transferred these miles and how I booked this flight. Okay, so you'll log into your Capital One portal, click the account with the miles that you want to use, and you're on the rewards tab, and you'll click on convert rewards, transfer miles, enter your membership number, and confirm. And you'll notice here that it does say the bonus is included, and it tells you exactly how many miles will end up in the Air France KLM Flying Blue program. And then when you complete your transfer, if I log into Air France, I will see the miles are already there. So this was an instant instant transfer. And to book this flight, you'll notice that I have a Flying Blue family program set up with me and my husband. So I'm actually going to transfer the miles that I just moved over to my account so that I can book it under my name. And so here I'm going to put in SFO to Saigon business class. And then here we have business class, the lowest fare is 98,000 miles. Continue to payment, put in all your information, enter your credit card number, and then it's done. So it was a very easy process. Air France requires 98,000 miles to book this flight with the 20% transfer bonus from Capital One to Air France and KLM's Flying Blue program. I only had to transfer about 82,000 miles in order to book this flight. In the demo, you saw that I only transferred a few miles over to Air France, and that's because I already did the same process to transfer my Capital One miles to my Air France account. So I just needed to transfer a little bit more from my husband's account in order to book the flight and have all the miles that I needed. So one of the things that we discussed on our business class with families episode on episode 70 is Air France is great because they offer family pooling. So you can pool your miles with a family member's miles. So if you don't have enough miles in one account, you can pool miles together from two different accounts. So I had some miles from my Capital One account. I moved to my Air France account. And then as you see here, I had to move some of my husband's Capital One miles to his Air France account. And then I pulled them together on the Air France side so I could book this ticket. How did you guys book your flight? Assuming you're going with me. Are you going with me?
Oh, I'm going.
Yeah.
You don't sound too excited.
Yeah. Mitch, say that again.
Well, okay, let me say this. The cat is it officially out of the bag now. We have planned this trip to go to Southeast Asia next year together. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am about this.
Oh, you are excited.
Oh,
okay. I just want to make sure.
I really am, because the places we're going that's on our agenda, some of my favorite places in the world to go. The fact that I get to go with the three of you is just, it's going to be an incredible trip. And I'm looking forward to that. But I think what this also means is maybe we might have a meetup on the West Coast.
Oh, Nicole, be thrilled. Nicole, fix your attitude right now.
West Coast is the best coast.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk all about that later. Let's talk about how I booked this flight on Vietnam Airlines with my Capital One miles as well. Now, you all may have laughed at me for getting the Air France KLM credit card from Bank of America, but I just want to point out who's laughing now. Because I got that credit card, I got a 70,000 point sign up bonus, which enabled me to save a lot of my Capital One points for something else. And I waited till we had that transfer bonus of 20%. And then I just had to move the remainder over. And that's how I booked my flight on Vietnam Airlines.
We're still laughing about that A&A card, just to be clear.
So Nicole, how did you book this fantastic trip that we're going on?
I took all of the Capital One miles I had left, used the transfer bonus, and transferred 82,000 points to my Air France account and booked it through there. Nothing fancy here, just good old-fashioned transfer. How about you, Miguel?
So first, I cried that we're not flying Qatar's quad seats again.
A lot of tears.
But once I got over that, I actually already had 50,000 Air France miles because I canceled a flight from Europe to Mexico City earlier this year. So I just had to top off my account. So I did so with Capital One miles. I also used the Air France program to book my return flight, and I booked China Airlines from Taipei to Vancouver, and that starts at 64,000 miles for an 11-hour trans-Pacific flight. I think that is a great deal.
Really good deal on an Asian carrier.
Amazing deal. The question is, since the cat's out of the bag, who has already told their P2?
Everyone's going to go around the table. We're going to hear P2s react. P2s are not invited on this trip, just so you know. Miguel, you go first.
My P2's reaction was, I said, hey, I'm going to Vietnam next year. And she said, okay. I think she's just used to it at this point where I'm just like, hey, I'm going to Singapore next week. You know,
next week.
So she really starts worrying when it's like a week before the actual trip, because there's a lot of things that I book and end up canceling. So it goes in one ear and out the other until it's actually, time for me to leave.
She knows it might not happen.
I waited a few days or weeks to tell her. But I did tell her. Sometimes when I'm actually going on this trip, she's like, did you tell me about this? Yes, I told you.
Claro que sí.
Nicole.
Absolutely not. Too many trips lined up. You can't take all of them at once. He has to process one at a time. Right now, we're focused on December 7th meetup, and then, we'll kind of layer them on as it will happen. How about you, Serena?
So my P2 has a PTO problem. So he
Don't they all?
knows that I'm going without him. I also need him to watch the kids, drop them off at school, pick them up. Oh, it's summertime.
You still need him to watch it.
I do need I need him to, take them to their summertime activities. So I needed to make sure he was available to do all of that. So he's fine with it. He was just concerned with how long it would be. How about you, Mitch?
So I use the tell and distract method, and I really probably shouldn't share this because now I'm going to get in trouble if he watches this. But I told him, I'm going to go to Vietnam and on this trip to Southeast Asia next year. And then I went directly into something else to distract a bigger issue, right? I said, oh, by the way, the property tax bill, and it came and it's not good at all. Nice. So I kind of told him, but then I distracted him with something else. So yeah.
Great job.
All right. So we told you how we told our P2s. We want to know from you, how do you tell your P2s about an upcoming trip that you have planned, or maybe you're going on a solo trip? How do you do it? Let us know in the comments below.
Another cool way to redeem your miles with Capital One is the purchase eraser. Now here's how this works. You can use your credit card to purchase travel-related expenses, even things like Disney theme park tickets, and then you can erase these expenses by using the miles at a rate of 1 cent per point. You can do this 90 days after the purchase. So let me set up a situation for you. Let's say you're working on the minimum spend for the Capital One Venture X. You have earned your miles within, let's say, 60 days. Some of those purchases include things like, again, Disney theme park tickets. When your bonus posts next month, you can use the miles from that bonus to erase the charges from the previous months. Now, it's important to remember that these have to be travel-related expenses and they have to fall within 90 days. This is not the best use of Capital One miles, but again, like Serena said, these are your miles. Use them how you choose. This opens up options for things like Airbnbs, specialty hotels that are not related to hotels that could be used with transferable points. You could use them for rental car, even things like transit. So this covers a wide array of travel expenses that are not usually covered by typical points and miles. If you're going to be purchasing theme park tickets, they have to be purchased through a certain travel agents. And one of them would be something like Undercover Tourist, because purchasing through this representative allows it to code as travel, so you can use the purchase eraser to erase these charges.
Another way to use Capital One miles is book your flights, car rentals, and hotels outright with the credit card and erase the purchase with your Capital One miles. It's, again, as Nicole said, not the best way to use your Capital One miles, but I admitted earlier that I used 2,500 Capital One miles to erase a $25 Capital One rental car charge. I do it, so it's okay if you do it too. And then other ways to use your Capital One miles, they also have access to entertainment and experiences. I know that there's a lot of people out there who've gotten really good Major League Baseball seat tickets for as little as 5,000 miles per seat. And these seats are supposedly in a really good location. I don't watch sports, so I don't care about that, but you might. And then you can also redeem tickets for shows and concerts too, if that's interesting for you.
We want to know how you would use your Capital One miles. Will it be flights? Are you spending $2,500 on a renter car? Or you want to use them for experiences? Let us know in the comments what you would use your Capital One miles for, and tell us if we left anything out of this episode. Some little details about Capital One that we haven't covered. We'll be glad to hear from you.
That's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts. It's Serena.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Later.
And we're going to see you next week, Nicole.
See you guys next week.
And I'm Mitch Shannon. Make sure you sign up for our email newsletter. Just snap the QR code right now on your screen for the latest and everything going on in the points and miles world. And we're going to see you here next Friday. Thank you for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.